Hello and welcome everyone, and thanks for joining our webinar this morning. We're going to give everyone the next 4 minutes or so to get logged in, and then we'll be starting momentarily. Good morning, everyone. I saw someone mentioned in the chat, are we muted on your side? And yes, you are, but you can also check your settings as well to make sure you're muted on your end. And for those of you just joining, thanks for joining and welcome. And we're going to give everyone a couple more minutes here to get logged on, and then we'll get started. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll give everyone another minute or so to get logged on, and then we'll get started here momentarily. It's nice to see all the greetings in the chat. You can also utilize the chat along throughout the webinar for a little Q&A. We'll try to address those questions, time permitting, at the end of our webinar. And if not, of course, we'll have a follow-up communication post the webinar with the Q&A as well. All right, 11:30. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, thank you everyone for joining. Today is our NHA webinar on ACE credit, which is part of our In the Know webinar series. My name is Connie Sears, and I'm an industry awareness specialist here at NHA. So before I provide an introduction and turn it over to our speaker for the day, I wanted to share just a few quick housekeeping items that you all might find helpful. All lines will be muted during the presentation, but feel free to enter questions into the chat for our Q&A. Hopefully we'll have time at the end of the webinar. If not, we'll address those questions post the webinar. If we're unable to answer live today, we'll follow up with that email post the presentation. You can also find more information about ACE on our website at nhanow.com. And housekeeping out of the way, now I'm very pleased to introduce my colleague, Jessica Langley-Lope, who will be our speaker today. Jessica is our Executive Director of Education and Advocacy here at NHA. She has many years of experience working in healthcare and education, and she is passionate about empowering people to access a better future. She has worked alongside others here at NHA to make our partnership with ACE possible, and she is very excited to share with you today the information about ACE. So with that, I'm going to turn this webinar over to Jessica.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see a large audience today. That means there's a lot of excitement around this topic. So welcome, everyone. Big thank you to Connie for her introduction. And she will also, as she mentioned, be monitoring both the chat box and the Q&A throughout the presentation. And I'm going to do my best to give us some time at the end to answer those, because I want to make sure you guys get all of the information that you want and need out of this particular webinar, because it's really beneficial for really all of our stakeholders, educators, employers, and NHA certification holders. So thank you again for joining today. We had a lot of interest in this webinar, so I also want to take just a few minutes for those of you joining that may not be as familiar with NHA. We are one of the largest healthcare certification and supplemental training providers in the country, and we work really hard to make sure we keep a pulse on the ever-changing industry of healthcare and education, and even more importantly, where those two industries intersect one another. Since 1989, we have awarded over 1 million certifications across 8 different healthcare professions, including medical assisting, phlebotomy, pharmacy technician, billing and coding, and others. We see a lot of similarities within the professions that we serve, and the demands for all of them are really high right now. We also know that our educators and our frontline healthcare professionals, like our technicians and medical assistants, are in need now more than ever. Because of this, we want to focus our efforts on initiatives that empower people to access a better future. And we think sharing information about ACE college credit fits right in line with that. So as I just mentioned, NHA is more than just a certification company. We look to develop tools and resources that assist individuals along their entire learning life cycle, and you can kind of see that through this graphic demonstrated here. We want to ensure success both before, during, and after the certification process. We provide support in many of these areas: learning and assessment resources, preparation tools, continuing education, and professional development. And as always, if you'd like to learn more about any of these areas or the tools, services, or resources that NHA offers, just let us know. You can send us an email, text us, or send a chat via our website. There's multiple ways you guys can get in touch with us. So if you do have additional questions, we're happy to help. So with this, we are in this together, and we're fully invested in your success. And we take pride in doing what's right. And we're not afraid to use our voices and our resources if it helps move the industry forward. And the partnership that we're going to share today with the American Council on Education, or ACE, I feel like is a great example of this. So that's where our focus is going to be on today. So we definitely want to start by just describing the partnership a little bit, and certainly introducing the American Council on Education to you all. So the American Council on Education, or ACE, it is a membership community that really supports higher education. They work a lot in public policy and work on initiatives to really kind of foster innovative, high quality practice, which is now, with the pandemic, kind of The initiatives post-pandemic is more important than ever. Their membership community equates to about 1,700 colleges and universities across the country, along with other associations and organizations. They work both within the country and abroad or internationally. They're the only major higher education association to represent all types of US accredited degree granting institutions. So that ranges from 2-year to 4-year, both public and private institutions. And with the number of members and partners that they help serve, that includes basically 2 out of every 3 student in an accredited degree granting US institution. So they're highly engaged, highly entwined and interconnected with the colleges and universities across the country, which also makes this partnership even more valuable and beneficial, as you'll find as we move forward. So this is kind of an overview slide about what ACE is and how we were going to be describing this partnership. In the simplest form, basically select NHA certification holders can now earn what we're calling ACE credit for completing NHA certification exams or training resources. They have updated their name in terms of ACE credit, but it is still credit in a sense of individuals can earn college credit. But they now are calling this service that they offer to do that their learning evaluation service. And the goal of that is to connect workplace learning with other colleges and universities by helping adults who maybe go through a non-traditional form of education, maybe it's outside of the classroom, to actually earn credit for that training, which, as we know, is super important to bridge the gap if those individuals want to continue their education pathway forward. So why is this important to you all on the call and to NHA and to our certification holders? For the millions, right, of individuals who may have received NHA certifications, there is a specific time frame now that NHA certification exam holders can earn that college credit by successfully passing their certification exam. And when they earn this college credit from ACE, it works in the same form as a traditional college transcript, to where they could then take that credit, submit it to an incoming institution for their approval of additional college credit. Now, of course, we all know, those of you who are in the education space, that it is up to the incoming institution of whether or not they accept that college credit, and those credits need to be aligned with the program of study that that individual is looking to gain further education in. We are going to go through each of these 4 boxes in more detail as well. But I know one main question is that you guys are all thinking is, how do I know, or who is eligible to earn some of this college credit through ACE? Certification holders that have passed, we have 3 exams, and again, we'll get into this in more detail. Our medical assisting, our clinical medical assisting, our phlebotomy, and our pharmacy technician exams have been reviewed and approved for ACE college credit, and that is effective for exam holders who successfully passed their exam from January 1st of 2020 to present. So they will be able to get access to that college transcript showing that those credits have been earned. However, it is not retroactive prior to 2020, and the ACE credits are good for 3 years. So that's something to keep in mind. And then we're going to walk through how individuals can receive or access that transcript. We will be working in conjunction with a third-party vendor called Credly. Some of you might have heard of that. And we'll walk through the step-by-step instructions on how to access that. So let's get into a little more of the details just about what this kind of ACE credit or ACE's Learning Evaluation Services review is. There's actually 2 types of reviews that can happen, and both are applicable to NHA currently. The first one is an examination evaluation, and the second is a course evaluation. The examination evaluation is exactly what it sounds like. They're looking at a certification exam and reviewing the content to make sure that it sufficiently covers the breadth and depth that it should to be applicable in the industry. They do technical reviews, they look at psychometric properties, they look at exam development and test security and all of those things to evaluate how many credits a specific certification exam could be awarded. On the other side, we then have course evaluations. So as you know, there are some resources that NHA has developed that can be offered in a course-like format, can be used as a supplemental training resource in a program's kind of curriculum or course outline. And we will be working in the future to get some of those learning resources also reviewed and approved for ACE credit in the future. And with that, they're looking at the content of the course, the scope, the rigor, assessments, meaning quizzes and exams that are a part of that course. They can be offered in different forms. They could be within training programs, apprenticeships, non-accredited education platforms. And again, that would award those individuals credit, even though they may not be gaining that information within a traditional educational setting. So a couple more details around the type of information that is evaluated by ACE. A lot of those were mentioned. They're going to look at exam content, the emphasis on the skills and ability areas, level of difficulty. Of course, they're going to look at validity and reliability of our exam, and of course, our testing procedures. No review process is easy for anyone, but because NHA's examinations, all of our certification examinations are also accredited by NCCA, or the National Commission for Certifying Agencies, it makes this review process much easier because those reviews are outlined in a similar way. So again, an added benefit for NHA that we can kind of use those to help assist us with this process. Now, once they do an evaluation, once ACE does an evaluation or an exam review, it can be awarded credit in one of three categories, and I have those categories listed here. One is a vocational certificate, so that could be earned in a trade school, maybe a CTE type program. The next one, which is the most common area that we would see one of NHA certification exams or our training resources being delivered. It aligns with the traditional lower division baccalaureate or associate degree type program. So if you think about the 8 different professions that NHA offers, those programs are traditionally found either in a certificate type program or associate degree kind of format. So aligning the college credits to that level, we would traditionally think this as like a 100, 200, 300 level course if you're looking at like a college or a course kind of, what do I want to say, like their class listings, that's where they would fall. We would not traditionally see any of our course credits fall into that upper division or baccalaureate degree or graduate degree setting. So most of our earnings will fall into that middle one at the associate degree level. So here are, as we mentioned briefly before, the approved NHA certifications. And again, anyone who successfully passed the certification in these 3 exam areas listed below from January 1, 2020 to current will be able to access an ACE transcript. So again, that was certified clinical medical assistant, certified phlebotomy technician, and our exam for certified pharmacy technicians, or the EXCPT. And as you can see, they have been awarded 2 credits each. The CCMA and the CPT fall into that lower division or associate degree level, and the EXCPT currently falls into our vocational certificate. We are also happy to share with the group that This process is rather lengthy and time consuming, but NHA is committed to moving forward with the initiative and each year working to get additional approvals on our other exams and other training resources or learning resources. So our goal in the end would be to have the opportunity to offer credit for our entire suite of products if applicable. So some of you may be asking, hey, this is great, but what other benefits, could it have for me as an employer or as an educator or even as a currently working healthcare professional? Again, it does allow you to earn college credit for some non-degreed work if you trained, for example, as a pharmacy technician in an employer-based program, right? Maybe with a Walgreens or a Walmart. If you were a CTE student that went through a training program, passed your certification, but was not able to get dual credit for that coursework, this would apply to you as well. It's also very applicable to our military service members as they are moving from active status duty into the civilian workforce. It helps give them that credit that is understandable in the civilian space and can help them transition to other degree type programs if that's part of their future goals. Again, remember that this credit works the same way as a traditional college or university transcript. And this last bullet is very important for our NHA certification holders. If you make the decision to access this transcript and these college credits that are now available for you, they cannot be used for NHA recertification. However, they may be able to be used for your employer to meet some continuing education requirements. Now, we obviously can't guarantee any of that, but it might be applicable. So you would need to just check with your organization or your manager to see if that applies. But you cannot use these for NHA recertification process. And again, they can potentially be transferred to other institutions of higher learning to count towards completion of an associate or a bachelor's degree. And then again, the caveat always being that even though you have that transcript in hand that shows that college credit has been earned, whatever institution that you're taking that transcript to, they have the right to either accept or deny that transcript. There's a lot of factors involved in that, depending on how you're trying to transfer it in, what type of program or level of program that you're thinking about. So always remember that that might be the case. There is a lot of information on ACE's website. So if you're ever wondering like, oh, has NHA gotten approval for other exams or other pharmacy or other learning resources or things like that, you can always go to their website. And if you scroll down just a little bit on their homepage, and we have the link here, we'll send out this presentation after the webinar today, so you'll have access to that. But on their homepage, if you scroll down and click on For Learners, and it will bring up a box to where you can search what they call their ACE National Guide. And what this does is it's basically a repository or a list of all the types of courses or exams that they have approved. If you type in National Health Career Association and search, as you can see here, it will bring up the list of items, exams, or courses that are currently approved for credit. Again, this is just helping you guys evaluate who's eligible for ACE credit. In their repository and in their partnership with Credly, we'll talk in just a minute about, you can go in and you can search for the different badges offered by NHA. Again, we have the kind of rules here and the parameters as to who's available. Again, remember that these credits are not retroactive prior to 2020, and they are good for 3 years. So you can kind of see this issued here on this screenshot, and we'll share a little bit more here about how you can, who is actually issuing these and how you can access that credit in the form of in the form of a transcript. So NHA has partnered with ACE. ACE then partners with a digital badge organization called Credly. Some of you might have heard them. They are a digital credential network provider, so that's all they do. And we also want to point out that even though when we talk about Credly and in some of the messaging that you will receive, it talks about a badge. We've had numerous questions in the past about, does NHA offer digital badges for our certifications? And the answer to that right now is no. We don't offer formal badges for any of our certifications, even in this initiative with ACE and the earning of college credit or an evaluation transcript. It's coming to you in the form of a badge, but that badge is your access to your transcript, if that makes sense. So you're not traditionally earning a badge. You have to access that badge in order to get your learning transcript. So I want to make sure that we kind of are clear on that, because we know that point can be confusing. So once again, the digital badge that you will be receiving from Credly when you get your information, if you are eligible for these college credits, is representing the learning evaluation transcript. And you will have to, as you see here, you have to accept that badge in order to access your transcripts that can then be shared and used with other institutions. So this is a really important slide, and probably one of the more exciting ones that you guys will want to either do a screen grab or make sure that you guys check out once we send this out post webinar. But these are the steps that it takes in order for you to access your transcript. And I want to make sure that everybody, we've kind of set those parameters with you. And what will happen is at the beginning of August, any individual who has passed one of those 3 exams that we mentioned between the time frame that we shared, January 1, 2020 to current, you will be receiving an email from Credly. Okay, and once you receive that email from Credly, these are the steps that you will have to take in order to get access to that transcript. So step 1, you've obviously completed an ACE approved certification within the allotted time frame. We will share that information and share that list of eligible individuals with Credly. That is what then triggers you as an individual to receive an email from Credly. And this is the actual email address that it will come from, that admin@credly.com. Within that email, you'll have directions on how to create an account. Super simple. Once you do that, so you must accept the badge or transcript, as you saw on that previous screen. That was kind of a screenshot of what that would look like. So right here, you would, it's saying, congratulations, you've worked hard, you've successfully completed an NHA certification exam, you now have access to college credit. You have to accept that badge, and if you haven't done so, they will make you set up an account via Credly. And then after that, once you have that account set up and you access that badge, you then can get your transcript and put that transcript to work in multiple ways, by sharing it with others, putting it on your digital platforms or social profiles, or sharing it with other institutions, however you would like. And this is one benefit that we have by partnering with Credly as that kind of digital badge or transcript provider. They allow you as an earner to share the information about that badge or that transcript with others. So as you can see here, you can share it via LinkedIn, other social tools. You can customize your certificates. You can put them in your wallet, and then of course share with other educational institutions. You don't even have to print and mail a transcript, a lot of that can be sent digitally through this service. We also want to make sure you have access to all of this information because we know it's a lot. It can be confusing. And our goal is that it's going to continue to be updated in regards to the number of exams or resources that earners are eligible to earn college credit. So we encourage you to check out our webpage that we have dedicated to ACE's Learning Evaluation Services. The link is here in this presentation, but also if you go to the NHA homepage and click under certifications, it has on the right-hand side a before and after certification drop down as well. And underneath that, you will see ACE credit. This is just a snapshot of the type of information that's shared there, obviously letting you know which certification exams and resources have been approved, the process for gaining access to your transcript, and then at the bottom, super helpful, is how-to guides, FAQs, and information about help centers and places that you can go if you still have questions. We really encourage you guys to use those ACE resources listed there if you do have questions, or of course, you can always email myself at any point and I will help you get your questions answered as well. This is just an example of the support help desk that Credly offers to all of the earners who have badges and or transcripts with them. So super easy. We wanted to make sure you had their support email address, or knowing that you can submit a request directly from their help center. This is also another list of resources, helpful resources. So just general news about ACE credit. If you want to get to the guide that shows you the list of resources that are approved by ACE, you can do that by clicking here and searching NHA. You can also access, obviously, Credly when you want to accept that badge and get your college credits via the transcripts. And then if you have platform issues, we also have their support or help desk link there as well. And so what I have done is, I know that I have only talked for 30 minutes, but I wanted to make sure, and I do see right now there's quite a few questions in the Q&A, and I think there are probably some in the chat. So Connie, if you would like to join and potentially read off some of those questions, and I will do my best to answer them. And then we have a little bit more information to share towards the end of the presentation as well.
Yes, so quite a few questions, and many of them have been answered in the chat. Here was one that their CCMA certification would be up for recertification next year. Can I receive credit?
So again, even if you're up for recertification, then that means you've probably passed that exam 2 years or more ago. So remember, it's only for new certification earners who passed their exam between January 1, 2020 to current. So if you've had a CCMA or phlebotomy or pharmacy technician credential with us prior to January 1, you would not be eligible. So if you've been a CCMA with us for 20 years, unfortunately, this isn't something that you can get access to at this time. So hopefully that helps with that.
There was another question as to if this would be applicable for students or the instructors. And
it could be both, right? We do have some of our instructors that go back and gain NHA certifications, and it's the same time frame applies. So if you initially took your exam January 1, 2020 to current, you would have eligibility to this. So just to give you some numbers, that is about 75,000 people right now that around the 1st of August will be getting that email from Credly saying that they're eligible to access that transcript, which is a ton of individuals. But we also know that's still a very short window of time for people to be impacted for that. And it's only good for 3 years, because then what NHA has to do is we have to go through another review process with ACE in order to maintain our status of approval, because they recognize that our exams are going to change. We're going to be updating, exams throughout the years, and they want to make sure that those match. So it is a time sensitive initiative, right? So obviously our exam today is not what it was even 5 years ago, certainly not 10 years ago. So that's why it's only applicable for a shorter period of time.
Another question, could ACE credits benefit someone working on a higher level, say bachelor's, master's, or PhD?
I would assume, since the credit awards fall into that kind of undergraduate, meaning associate or baccalaureate, that it would traditionally be most applicable to that level. So I would assume it could transfer in for associate and bachelor's degree level work, but probably not outside of that.
Okay, there's a couple of questions as to if there's an associated fee or cost.
There is none. So that's part of the benefit that you have as an earner. We work on our end to cover costs to get the exams reviewed and approved, and we're passing that value on to you as an NHA certification holder.
There was notation that someone received an early email. Would they be receiving another email from Credly?
Yeah, so when we've initially looked at the list of individuals that are going to fall into the category of being approved for this college credit, there was an email that was sent out in error as we were reviewing that list. So yes, that same list will get a new email coming at the beginning of August.
There were some questions as to which ACE credits could be applied towards which majors.
Yeah, of course, again, that's kind of a tricky question because it depends on the institution that you're looking to transfer those credits into, but I could speak a little bit to this. So if you already, let's say you went through a certificate, an MA certificate program, but you were wanting to get into supervision or management, or just want to set yourself up for that future success, you may be looking at like a health services administration degree, associate or bachelor's, or maybe a healthcare management associate or bachelor's degree. Those would traditionally, I would think, be some of the more common ones. However, there could be other options at other institutions. But again, just remember the institution that you're taking those credits to has the authority to either accept or deny, and they can work with you to see if they, and to see which programs they're most applicable for that they offer at their institution.
Okay, there were a couple of questions, and I'll go ahead and answer this as to if the presentation, the recording would be shared post the webinar. And it was noted that the presentation, as well as information about the ACE credit program, will be able to be viewed on nhanow.com, our website. So I encourage you to visit there after this call, as it may address some of the additional questions that you might have or think of. And then additionally, we'll follow up via email with all of those who have registered to provide an FAQ addressing all of these common questions that are being brought up.
Yes, and remember that we have a unique site on our website dedicated to this information. So make sure you guys, it's right down here on this slide, make sure you visit that page. I am pretty sure we'll post this presentation down in the resources section, and maybe even the webinar recording on that as well. So this would be a comprehensive page to have lots of information to help answer your questions.
Yeah, there were several interested in patient care technician as to if that's applicable at this time?
It is not applicable right now, so it's just certified or clinical medical assistant phlebotomy and pharmacy technician. But again, we have a schedule that we're trying to get the additional exams and other resources approved as well. But just so you know, it traditionally takes about a year to get through a review cycle with ACE. So again, it's not something that is really quick or timely. It's a very extensive and very detailed process. So this is more of a long-term strategy for NHA, just so that you're aware that it's a multi-year initiative for us.
There were some questions about the 2 credits. Wondering if that is equivalent to 2 credit hours. So let's say a course was a 3 or 4 hour course.
Yeah, so if you think about a traditional college credit is, 16 hours or so, you would meet one day a week for the full 16-hour length of a traditional educational course at a university or something like that. This would be similar. So if you have a college class that's worth 3 credits, think of this one as it's worth 2. Something else to note for the educators is you traditionally would offer the certification exam in a capstone type course. So this may be something to consider, that your students can get 2 additional credits as part of that capstone course. Now, it would not be awarded through your institution, but it would be awarded through ACE credit. That is definitely a value add for them as well, but something to consider, in terms of your curriculum outline or course outline.
Many questions as to if it pertains to the CET, and that one is not yet. So the 3 exams again are the CCMA, the CPT, and the EXCPT. That's right. The exam for the certification of pharmacy technicians.
That's right.
I believe we've kind of caught up, I think, to most of the questions in the chat.
And again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. My email is jessica.langley@nhanow.com. And also encourage you, again, to visit the webpage, and you can access that, through nhanow.com.
Okay. Okay, there was a question about the EXCPT being the lower division vocational.
Yes. What that means is that because it's vocational, it probably has less likely of an opportunity to transfer as college credit into an associate or a baccalaureate degree. We're actually looking to do a re-review of that exam because we feel like it should have earned the lower level associate bachelor's degree credit as well, like the other 2. So we're looking at that, but currently right now it is awarded the vocational level, kind of title, but.
Wondering why phlebotomy and CPT and CCMA were awarded 2 credits. Would that be re-evaluated at any point to be more credits?
Probably not. What you have to think about is this is just for the certification. So this does not include the courses leading up to an individual taking the certification exam. It's just for the work that they did to complete the certification itself.
There was a question as to as a 10th grader would be able to qualify for ACE credits, someone in 10th grade?
If they met the NHA's eligibility requirements to set for one of NHA's certification exams, then yes.
Okay, I think we've kind of covered everything else one way or another.
Great.
All right. So what we'll do is if you want to, yeah, I'll go ahead and stop taking the questions now, but we'll be sure to address those post the webinar. Or if we have some additional time here at the end, but I'll temporarily close this out for now. I wanted to share a few final thoughts. So the slide that's up now, you can continue to stay informed by registering for our In the Know webinar series, showing here at nhanow.com. And then in addition to ACE credits, I wanted to share some other news and noteworthy items that we're excited about here at NHA. We now have all-in-one resources available for medical terminology and anatomy and physiology, which provide interactive learning, practice, and assessment, all in a comprehensive tool. We're pleased to offer personability to individuals. It's also an interactive tool designed to help allied health professionals to learn, practice, and develop essential soft skills, all in one tool as well. Personability is designed for medical assistants, certified nurse assistants, LPNs, patient care technicians, phlebotomy technicians, and pharmacy technicians. And it includes 9 CEs for relevant professions. And it also includes a career kit, which we're very excited about. So with Personability, you receive a career kit where you'll find healthcare-focused resume templates, profession-specific interview tips, and cover letter samples. So the career kit is helping you to arm your students with practical tools they'll need once they earn their certification, and this is all at no additional cost, included with the Personability tool. Aside from that, I wanted to mention that just this month, we're launched our 5th edition of our annual Allied Health Industry Journal, which we call Access. So we're very excited about that. It includes the 2021 Industry Outlook Report with key stats based on research conducted with employers of allied health. And you can also go to nhanow.com to download your copy. Aside from that, we would love to hear your feedback about our webinars. So if you could please tell us what you think via this link, which we'll also throw in the chat for you. And for those who do complete the survey, you'd be entered for a chance to win one of 2 $50 Amazon gift cards. So thank you so much. We would love to have your feedback. And then just as a reminder, and many of you mentioned this in the chat as well, we'll be sending a follow-up email to all who register for this call. And I think that covers everything that we were planning to cover. I'll just take a quick look here in the chat, but lots of thank yous, and interested in someone from NHA helping vendor a table at a healthcare conference. So definitely we'll be in touch after the webinar for this inquiry, as well as all of your inquiries that you've noted here in the chat. I think that's everything then.
Thank you, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you back next month.
Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.